A very good afternoon to all. Welcome to our weekly Tally CA Connect. Today's topic of discussion is a very interesting one and I'm sure very useful one to all. That is data analytics for financial audit in Tally Prime. Our speaker for today is CA Atul Gupta. I'm sure most of you here are already familiar with him. For those who don't, I would like to give a brief introduction. CA Atul Gupta is a practicing chartered accountant for over 24 years now. He takes regular sessions and is a trainer for corporates on various aspects of internal control, taxation, accounting, finance, and bookkeeping. He specializes in system implementation and various types of audit. He has also authored books such as Disha Module 6, Business Application for Software Audit, and also contributed in guidance note on bank audit. We are proud that C. Atul Gupta is also a Tally evangelist. Thank you, sir. I welcome you today. And just a small note for the audience. So please write your questions for Q&A only so that we can keep track and make sure that all the questions are answered. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Komal, and welcome to all the members present. So I'll just request you to put, I understand that most of us are from the profession. I'm myself a chartered accountant. So please put in the chat, you are chartered accountant, so that is deeming fiction like, and then whether in job in practice, and if in practice. So I'm not sure, Rajesh. Yes, it is. It will be probably available. Komal will be able to update on that. Yeah, so it will be available. Thank you, Rajesh. So I'll request you to put whether in practice, your specific area of practice. Those who are in practice, those who are in job, they can name their company or the nature of product services your company is providing. And oh, great. And then the city town you are from India. So that is that one thing that I enjoy. This whole online. Okay. So just 2 minutes to all of you to put your name, service practice, and city town you are from. If in practice, the nature of practice you are into. And Govind, glad to see you back here. Okay. So so please put just 2 minutes so that we allow us to introduce ourselves to each other and allow people. Yeah, Rajesh, and please put your name of the city also and the area of core area of practice. Like that will help me reorient my session. I can take examples. Haldwani, great. Audit, taxation, and company matters. Great, Mukesh. Rajesh is Mumbai. Okay. Mumbai, GST, income tax. Dhanan Balan. Okay. Practice. You say Balan. Okay. Audit, taxation, Rajesh. Chennai. Pune. Rekha is from Pune. Great. Okay. So 30 seconds more. Avidhi Krishnan. Tally training, tax consultation at Chennai. Okay. Okay. So thanks for this. I would have wished everyone could have introduced himself, herself. That would made have my discussion. Internal audit. Belgaum. Ram. Okay. Great. So we are starting this session. I'm sharing my PPT. See, we'll keep this session interactive. Hosur. Kuthalingam. Okay, that is Hosur. So we'll keep this session interactive. I'll be doing, there is no per se theory aspect to the session. Everything is going to be practical, just few terminologies we need to learn. So we try to learn those in practical sense. CMA Pavan. Okay, that's Jaipur. Jaipur is in Odisha, Pavan, the one that you are referring to. Yes, Samir, we all must be interested in data analytics. Okay. So here is the PPT visible in
Yes,
your
sir.
QA. Yeah, okay, thank you. Case Kaswala and Associates in practice, Mumbai. Presently, Samir is practicing in GST. Yeah, okay, done. Now, see, what we are basically looking at, month of August, we have crossed our 75th Independence Day. So from here, it goes, thank you, Vishal. It goes to, we are entering into the audit season, generally beyond COVID lockdowns. So generally, this is the audit season that we are all entering into. So my idea of this session was basically looking to that aspect of our profession in terms of most of us, as you have already said, that you are in accounting, GST, many of you are in tax audit, statutory audit. Someone said looking for company matters. So this idea, this concept is very, very important and critical for all of us, as we understand that most of us are from the practice side of the profession. Just few updates as we go into the session. See, as time goes ahead, the way technology is coming into profession, I understand that most of you are in tax part of the practice. So since last 10 years, the and more specifically on the direct taxation front, there has been a phenomenal shift from the way the whole practice is being done. The issue with the present income tax website, that is known to all of us. Beyond that, income tax practice, the way data is being analyzed, the way your summary 143 1A notices you all have been receiving for your client, for your own self. So 100% they are being system driven. So everything is being automated. So automation has got deep into the taxation part of practice. GST 1st July 2017, then GST on 1st July 2017 was first stage of the revolution on indirect taxes that you all feel. Then next revolution on indirect taxation that I personally feel is e-invoice. That was triggered from 1st of October 2020, and phase wise it is being implemented for more entities. My understanding is that those entities who are selling goods, so they have to, the 50 crores and about turnover, I think, are covered in e-invoice. Now, see, why I'm sharing this like this. Oh, as we all go ahead in practice, few things are fundamentally going to change. The whole, whatever area of practice you are all in, it is being affected by data analytics, business intelligence. Let me just take some example. Taxation practice, we have talked about direct tax. Now you have faceless assessments. That is also going to change the way whole direct taxation practice is done. Indirect tax practice, those who are in GST practice, if you imagine the number of clients you had on 1st July 2017 and this year 1st July 2021. So in the 4-year time frame, you will realize that the number of clients per se have actually physically gone down. My personal reading is that as time goes ahead, as more automation goes into the whole area of indirect practice, as client himself, herself, or it learns through, so it will be more on a self-assessment basis. You must have that QR code to be printed on invoice. Uh, the future is absolute automation on QR code. As you go ahead in time, it will be all driven by this single device. All SMEs, my calculation is up to the turnover of 10 crores and less, will only need to carry this mobile. No return filing, nothing to be done. Everything is mobile driven. That level of automation is going to get into that area of practice. So this is one part. Then someone said that he or she is into accounting. So just I'm writing a word in chat box. So chat I use so that keeps my interaction on with you. As you go ahead and practice, AI, artificial intelligence, is creeping into our profession. One of the core areas of profession that is going to take a big hit due to AI is accounting. All mechanical job will be automated. So accounting itself will be system driven. Yes, Govind, thanks for giving this word bot for all of us. So this basically means that where we are moving towards. So we are moving towards a very specialized type of practice. So now specialized means this will become a, like, just taking a very example like this, that when I started my practice some 20 years back, that time laptop was a luxury for a practicing chartered accountant. Today, you cannot imagine starting your practice without a laptop. So data analytics, which looks so critical, so important today, will be mandate for practice as it is going ahead. In fact, it is already made a lot of inroads in our practice area. So we all realize that this is very, very, very important. So to this, today's session has been planned, targeted. Please understand the available time for the session is too less to be able to go through the whole aspect, the whole scenario of data analytics. It's like you can have a thesis on this topic, but what we shall basically try to do, the whole session, the way it has been planned is that the new Tally Prime, in fact, I have been taking this session on how to do audit through Tally since more than 10 years, believe me. Indore is my town, so I've been taking this session at our branch. I used to travel to Ahmedabad a lot, so I've already taken this session in Ahmedabad, many other cities in Gujarat, across India. The topic heading of my session was how to do audit through Tally. That was since last 10 years. But believe me, Tally Prime has added lot of quality to that session. So I've specially devised this session to understand that how we can use the features in Tally Prime to do a phenomenally good audit for our clients. Now, see the way audits are being done. So today, most of our, like I say myself as a SMP, small medium practitioner, most of my clients are SMEs, or you can say MSME, micro small medium enterprises. So the nature of accounting, the way they do the accounting, the availability of the accounting at my client end, we all understand, we all know, we are on the practice side of the profession. So the way they are doing accounting now, so what happens, say now because COVID corona, the due dates are being extended, government has been liberal on that part. But just take my word that suppose 30th September was your due date for completing tax audit. So I'm asking you, I love to have my sessions very interactive. Okay. So I'll request you that suppose 30th September is a due date for your tax audit completion. What is the best date? Means suppose I say that most of 50% plus clients send your data between what slot. So I'm writing these dates in chat box between 1st to 10th September, between 10th September to 20th September, and from 20th to 30th September. So you can say A or B or C. So A is 1st to 10, B is 10 to 20. Good. You got my point. Why? So Mukesh, you are lucky if your client send that. So we need to thank your client. Now, so you got the point that what I wanted to make. In fact, I have been requesting our members, if possible, what we can do, we like you can have this happy hours, happy hours where the restaurant, when it is not busy, so they give you discount. So you can have an unhappy hour billing. So those clients who send data in the C part, Vatsal says C. So 20th to 30th, then you can charge a 25% extra fees. I think we need to get into that frame of practice. So the point that I'm trying to make, that see, we all understand, we realize the issue, what it is exactly the issue. I'm just taking an example. So that is going to create a focus for what we want to talk about, the intensity of the whole session. So your client now, and the next part. So next part I'm sharing with your permission. When your client wants you to do audit, what is the first thing the client does? Okay, let you say, then we learn. Suppose the client says, now please do the audit. What is the first thing he sends you? What is the first thing that the client sends you on an email? वैसे फोन करके बोलता है ऑडिट शुरू कर दो, कुछ ईमेल कर देता. What is the first thing that your client emails to you when it wants the audit to be? I was also writing mostly yes, nothing on email. Oh my god, then how you go about the audit? Bank statement data, tally data. So he mails you the tally data. Believe me, most of the client, even during the time the tally data is being uploaded, he makes a phone call. Sir, I have sent you the tally data. Now you audit. So then the audit starts. So the focus of today's session is that how to use the capabilities provided in Tally, and more specifically Tally Prime, to create that data of interest that you are going to further analyze, so that you create a very effective audit only on that Tally data. Very, very important. So that is the core for today's discussion, the way we want to approach it. Let us go ahead. So just the whole session plan is like this. We'll be talking about data analytics. We'll be doing some live question answers. Then I shall brief. See, I've already told you the time allowed in this session is so less to be able. So what I'll be doing, I'll run through all the available features that are there in Tally Prime that we as auditor can use to do a very effective audit. Believe me, my personal, now remote access is there, browser access is there. So you need not physically go to the client location. In fact, client need not send Tally data to you also. Client can allow you online access. And in fact, that is the way you need to build on that. So that is going to increase the time frame we all have. Just while discussing, this idea has come to me that we must ask our client to allow us, sorry for the spelling, browser access on their Tally data. So if you have browser access, the auditor right can be defined. We all know how to define that right. There could be a separate session on that, but I understand that you are all good Tally users, so we know user rights. So with the permission of the client to create a Tally browser auditor access. So that the best part of that will be you will be available, the system will be available online to you, and you can get a larger time to do the audit. So that is one part of the transaction. So what we'll be doing, I'll be briefing on data analytics, the basic features of Tally Prime. So we'll go through the features. I understand few features you will be knowing about that, but what we'll try to do, we'll link those features with our auditing standard, accounting standard, and reporting formats, reporting framework, so that we can create value data. In fact, just for the sake of it, to create the quality into discussion, asking a question to all of you. How many of you were privileged to do a statutory bank branch audit this year? How many of you did statutory bank branch audit this year? Say yes. So you can say yes. Yeah. Kuthlingam says yes. Yes. Okay. So Anand Samir is saying yes. Great. Okay. So the important point that I wanted to ask was beyond this, or others can also say yes and no. Okay. So this interaction keeps you alive in the session and gives me good feedback to talk about. Yeah. Thank you, Prathmesh. Thanks. So now the next important question. The bank branch audit you did, we also did. So I'm also saying yes. It was online, offline. Online means remote, or offline means physical. So you can say online, offline, like that. How did you do it? Both, Kuthlingam. Great. Thanks for this. Both. Okay. Offline, Anand. Great. So one did branch, we did both, and one branch. %100 online. And just for the sake of it, the branch we did 100% online. We were able to, it was the staff of the branch did a good job. They gave a lot of data to us online. We were able to get to a level of creating MOC at the branch we did online. So what the point that I wanted to make, the point that I'm wanting to make is that Tally allows you browser access that is now inbuilt into the system. So browser access creates a inbuilt security element. So please ask your clients to allow it. So that is going to keep it safe. The data will be at the client himself, herself, and the time that you get for audit will be much higher. So, okay, that is how it was. Now, the plan of the session, an introduction to data analytics, then introduction to the features available in Tally. So I'll discuss the features in light of auditing, accounting, and reporting framework, the applicable reporting framework, and then we will have some live session, live examples on that. So let us start the session. So brief on data analytics, features available in Tally Prime, usable for data analytics. Then live, so we'll be doing through Tally Prime, and got the companies, and then open house. Okay. Data analytics. Now, what exactly is data analytics? So let us keep it there. You go on Google, you'll find multiple definition, Wikipedia. Core is what? Core is that it is basically examining a set of values, set of information, data set. So that data set is going to give you indication of something that requires your attention, something that may be indicator of error, something that probably may be indicator of a fraud. So what is required when you say data analytics? So our capability of getting that information, getting that idea is data analytics. I'll be sharing live cases. We actually did a forensic audit on Tally. I requested Tally to have a special session on how to do a forensic audit through Tally. But I'll see how much I can share and how much we can build on that session. So it was basically, I'll tell you where we got the idea of where the fraud is. It was fantastically done. It was a 20 lakh rupee fraud. The entity requested us to do their forensic audit. Believe me, we did use a separate audit tool. I'll be sharing that. But the core data where the fraud is, that all information we took from Tally itself. So we actually executed a forensic audit in Tally. So I had requested Tally to have a separate session on how to do forensics through Tally. So someone said that he or she is interested in data analytics. That is great. But the next thing that is already getting into the profession is forensic audit. I think our institute, C Institute, has a course on forensic audit. I believe few of you must have done that. So it's a phenomenal course to be part of the profession. Okay. So what is data analytics? Data analytics is analyzing data set for indication of some issue that is there. So I've taken this example. Just read that, what it tells. The complainant company found 7 cases where refunds were made in the wallet or the bank and delivery of orders. Oh, so if you have 2 fields in Excel, okay, let me do it more. Any one of you who has done this online this accounting for any retailer, wholesaler who is selling online through e-merchants. So the vendor is selling through Amazon, Flipkart, Bong, and you have done their accounting part. Anyone who is there, I want to share this. It's a phenomenal case to learn. So I told you that we are going to keep session practical based on experiences, based on things as they are. And then we'll see how you can pick those things in the Tally, and more specifically Tally Prime. Okay. So my question to you was, anyone who has been associated for doing accounting for a vendor who might be selling through this big e-merchants, Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, anyone, I'm just naming the top ones. So, okay. Now, see, when you sell through these vendors, so these vendors give you a lot of data. That data you can download from their website. There are service providers who get that data. So in this case, one of the payment wallet. So it was so simple. On Excel, there are 2 fields. One field says order delivered, another field says refund made. Now, when you filter the data, one has to be yes, another has to be no. It is mutually exclusive. You cannot have a refund and delivery both. But here, the cases were that there was a refund as well as. So this is a phenomenal example of how data analytics is going to help. Yes, great, Balan. Now, so Balan, just write a line of the complexity of the accounting. Means what is this? You can say that when you do an accounting of that client, or when you, not necessarily accounting, even when you are doing auditing, and the client data that is downloaded from this e-merchant. So can you just give a hint of number of columns it has, the Excel sheet? You must have seen that, Balan. The number of columns the Excel sheet has, the number of data it has, and then it has to be picked into accounting software. Tally, lot of interfaces are provided by many of our TDL developers across India. So that reading those complexities, that is part of data analytics. Yes, it's mostly about 20. Samir, in fact, I'm sharing, Samir, thanks for this. Thank you, Balan, for this. I'm sharing the number of columns our client had. We were part of the ERP implementation process. But not Tally, it was a separate ERP, a dedicated industry ERP. I'm writing the number of columns we viewed. 35. So it was A, B, C, D, and then A, B, like that. You got my points. That is what you're looking at. So that capability has to come, and this is going to come through data analytics. So just taken a very simple example from Prime. Okay, we'll be doing it in, this is a screenshot, we'll be doing this practically also. So now, so it is going to question answer, and we are all practicing chartered accountants. So I want you to put your heads and heart into all this. So if you see that there are 25 ledgers which have never been used, what does it tell? I'll share a practical example from my experiences. You find now you're doing in prime. We have entered the long scenario, long chain of prime, and then issues are coming up. So in prime, this report is there. There are not used ledgers. Now your auditor, how do you interpret it? What it indicates? Then I'll share one of my phenomenal practical experiences, not used ledgers. Okay, so let me do it for you. You know, we're doing internal audit of this auto dealer. So auto dealers have what we call as DMS. Yes, Samir, I was waiting for this question. Thank you. Let me complete my case, and then you'll get the answer to your question. Thanks. Please keep it interactive. Okay, you can put questions in QA also. So chat QA is recorded. So chat is not recorded, but then my capability of looking at chat is very fast. So that is why I request. Yes, Kuthlingam, great. Now let me share this case. So sometime back, we were doing this internal audit for a four-wheeler auto dealer. It was one of the biggest auto dealer in the state where I come from. 10 years back, it had turnover of 1100 crores. Imagine. So I'm talking of a real big auto dealer. So they were doing their accounting on Tally. Now they were auto dealer for a company, so it has to be a big auto company. So each auto dealer has something called as a DMS, Dealer Management System. So this company was had the DMS, and what they were doing all their accounting on Tally. Now what they got from DMS, they got an interface made so that all data from DMS is automatically picked into Tally. So they got this interface created. At the end of the day, they will run the interface. So all transactions from dealer management system will be updated into Tally. So then they have a validation process and the accounting is completed. Now, when you talk of a four-wheeler auto dealer, generally when a single sale, like you purchase a four-wheeler, so for you as a person, it's a single sale, but for the dealer, it is not single sale. It is roughly 7-8 different sales account which are hit. So the vehicle sale, the spare, the accessory, extended warranty, now RTO, insurance. So there are 7-8 sales ledger which are hit. So as soon as this sale was picked into Tally, different ledgers were credited due to the transaction. When I went for their first time, I found that the Tally was working slow. It was not working. So I realized that there must be this first header you saw, not use ledgers. So based on my assessment, I concluded that there are, because the way India, the way we are, you buy a four-wheeler today. So next four-wheeler you'll buy at least 5 years after. As a normal Indian, when you buy a four-wheeler, the next will be after 5 years or even after 10 years. Okay. So that is there. So what I realized that what was happening, that company did not do a housekeeping of their database of their masters. See, when we split data, it splits the transaction. It doesn't split the data, the masters. Masters remain. So I was sitting with the MD of the company. I told the MD, see, your Tally requires housekeeping. It has this first header, not use ledgers. So MD asked me how much. The point that I was talking to the MD, that time I had actually not calculated how much, but I had some idea. Based on the volume transaction, I've already told you 1100 crores was the turnover. So I told MD there are 35,000 not used ledgers. The MD jumped on his seat. What, Mr. Gupta, what are you talking about? The point was, let me say it in Hindi with your permission. तो क्या हमारे यहाँ सब बेवकूफ है, मतलब are our people not intelligent? So I did not question his doubts. I told, sir, please ask your people to check it. So as Samir told that no transactions, so they did a check. Now once the check was done, 1,10,000 not used ledgers were found. Not necessary, not used. it was like a ball. The MD had been hit by a huge ball. So now see, in India, you know what, how happens? So let me do this case in Hindi and then I'll complete. तो भारत में कैसे होता है कि कमरे में 10 लोग सो रहे हों और अगर दरवाजे पे कोई नॉक करता है ना, तो उन 10 सोते हुए लोगों में से जो हूं करता है उसको दरवाजा खोलना पड़ता है। तो अपने हिंदी में ऐसा बोलते हैं, जो हूं बोले सो कुंडी खोले. So when 10 people are sleeping in a room and there is a knock on the door, the first person to respond to that knock is supposed to wake up, open the door. So that same case happened with us. The MD told me, please delete these ledgers. What is this? We have told you, now you delete 1,10,000 ledgers. We are not going to delete. Deletion is a process. If 2 minutes are taken to delete a ledger, it will take 2,20,000 minutes. So then I got knowing so many people in Tally since so long. So I got a TDL writer, and then he wrote a special TDL for the company, and this 1,10,000 ledgers are deleted en masse. Samit, the answer to your question is now you can bulk delete. In Tally 7.2, that option was not there, but now it is there. So you can go for a bulk delete, but just take the last word from me. When you go for delete, there has to be a validation process that this deletion is accurate. So what you can do, create a separate group for that, transfer all ledgers in the group, and then delete the whole group en masse. So that is going to help you. That is the intensity, data analytics. Okay. There are core steps of analysis. This is very important. Inspecting. Inspecting means the data itself. Cleansing. Cleansing means making the data relevant for yours. Transforming. Transforming is okay. So Samir and Kuthlingam, I have kept your questions. We'll answer. So I'm keeping it for the open house. Now, so you inspect the data, then you go for cleansing. Cleansing means the whole set of data that is relevant for you. Keep that for you with yourself. Transforming. See, data is raw. It has to be converted into a presentable format. So there has to be transforming process. So you require tools to transform. And then based on that, you take decisions. Based on that, the information you generate, you take decision. So I love doing this interactive quizzes. So I'm sharing one with you. Please give a feedback. We'll make an analysis to learn how data analytics work. Just give me a second. I have put a Google quiz in the chat box. Please click open. Someone say yes, it is opening, and give a feedback. Opening. Thank you, Samir. Please fill it, submit it. By the time you submit, I'll open the data sheet for your submissions. I'll request all to do it, please. So the larger the data, the better we are going to learn. Simple, nothing critical. Okay, so now you can see what your submissions are. Okay, so you are able to see this was not the one that I want you to see. I want a better thing for all of us to see. 30 more seconds. Yeah. Okay, we have got 10 submissions. That does my job. Others, I request to submit. So just keep a tag of this. It's 12. So as you submit 13, so someone has submitted as we are discussing. Okay. So first were by myself only. Okay. No, see here it is. So 13 has become 14, 15. So data analysis is real time. Okay. Just you submit See, it is real time. It's 15 responses. I'll request two or three to submit again. So we just see, we can have a feel of the reality of things. I think resubmit is also an option. So someone can help us. Yeah, 16. See, the percentages changes. So this is big, exactly how you, this is Google Analytics. Okay. So what it is basically doing, presenting data, just see, have a feel of it. So is data analytics an audit tool? I go by yes. Most of you also go by yes. Application area for data, you can take, so you're understanding where you can use data analytics. Now see, this feedback is good for me because it tells me that you all have, we all understand how 17 responses, it updates immediately, real-time update. So you all say yes, we can use data analytics for tax audit, stock audit. Yes, I want to discuss this one. Statutory, investigation, fraud, forensic, MIS preparation, it can be applied everywhere. So others you have added, few people have added other financial planning and management, GST, TDS and other compliance. Fantastic. So you have added to the quality of your answer. I'd ask this question. So more submissions are there. The bar is moving. A cash payment of 20,250 at each day of a specified day of a month. So would it require investigation? So most of you have said yes. Okay. So it is written. That is 313. I think the graph is visible. Na? Just I thought I missed that. The graph is visible. I must have asked it early, but sorry for asking the question late. Thank you, Ram. Okay. So would this require a need for data analysis? So most of you say yes. Okay. 250 cash payment at the end of the month. You also, they also say yes. Now here see. So the way you look at data, that tells you, yes, here is need for data analysis. So our idea, our understanding has to be built like this. Okay. So everyone agrees that COVID Corona, actually it has been tough for all across the world. Each country has been affected. We as a country have been affected. Across the world, few sectors kept their pace. Health sector, we are all thankful to all our health workers. Grocery, they made actually few grocery stores made very good. Online training is a revolution. This Zoom is a revolution. Our institute DLH is also a revolution. The way things are. Packaging sector, and someone said travel. Okay, so travel must have revived now. During lockdown, it was one of the worst affected sectors. Yes. So as more submissions come, let us go to the top of the sheet. So we have 18 submissions. So all this data is being analyzed for 18 submissions. Okay. Now, what I've shared with you, basically to help understand, get an idea that why this is going to help a lot, this data analytics. It is going to give thought process to what exactly you are looking for going ahead. Okay. Just a question for the sake of it. I think we all use Google Form. You can say in the yes in the chat. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Francis. Okay. So that was sample. Now, tools for, see, it's a very, you go online. So there are 10, 25 very specialized languages for data analysis. First 2, 3 are Python. They are languages used for AI, programming AI creation, SQL structured query language, Excel, and other special applications are tools through which you can do data analysis. The way we are, the way our profession is. So most of us use Excel. Then just to within Excel, what things are going to help us learn data analytics. Okay, so what I'll be writing one by one. So you have to say yes, that in Excel you can do this. Okay, because that is going to be the core through which you are going to Power BI. Yes, Kuthlingam, great. So Power BI. So one question Kuthlingam has asked. So please say, let you ask his question that whether you are using it or not. Power BI is Power Business Intelligence. Okay, so specialized formulas learning. Great, Kuthlingam. But let others respond to it. Power BI. So you have to say yes or no. Using it in Excel, yes or no. Because see, these are the tools which based on which you're going to finally conclude the or draw conclusions of the data that you are going to pull from this Tally Prime. Samir, it depends on the niche. Exactly, Samir. I am coming to your question only. Let me complete it. So please answer this Power BI. You have to say yes or no. Use, Govind. Thank you. Others also, please. So let us interact. Learning, Excel, doing. No, Vikas. Okay. So if you are using Excel in some customized application, Vishal. Okay, let me ask the next question that you will feel more comfortable to answer. Conditional formatting. Say yes, no. Most of you are yes. So that now see what I basically want. I want you to understand these are the tools which are available and which you are using for data analysis. Okay, next. So conditional formatting is over. Pivot. So what it tells that Vikas, please learn pivot table. It's very, very, very important, Vikas. Okay, you can learn. Online tutorials are available. Any language they are available now. Please learn. Next. Macros. Ram, great. Vishal, Vikas. Dimple, please try to learn macros, Dimple. You can a little bit known. Yes, yes. I am like you, Balan. A little bit also I know. So we need to learn. Macros allow you to program repeated commands. Yes, pivot table. In fact, Lingam, in Excel also it's available. The question, see, it's a tool. How you use the tool is the intelligence part. So that is what we need to learn how to use the tool. Okay. Great, Swaraj. CRM, customer relationship management, database analysis. Very good. Okay. Now, going from the auditor's perspective. So what I'll be doing, I'll be changing the screen and we'll go live to Tally Prime because there a lot of value addition has been done. Okay. So allow me to share Tally Prime screen. Okay, please, I've changed the screen. Is the Tally Prime visible? Please say yes. Okay, thank you, Dimple. Great. Okay, so now where we want to learn. I'm I talked to a lot of people in Tally, Komal being there, then Janak and Abhishek is also there. So and we all had some people we lost in COVID Corona. So one of my very dear friends, he was with Tally. We lost him, Deepak. So I used to tell that this, whatever Tally has done this time, Tally Prime, it's a fantastic job they have done. So let us see what we are looking at. We have time only to discuss the headers. Please understand. Okay, let us do. So this we know. This we also know. So what I'll do, I'll just take exception reports we all know. Okay, I just want to bring the case out of it. So, okay. Ledgers without email IDs. So, you know, communication. Okay. This is where I wish to focus. Negative ledgers. I think we all understand. So let us do it through a case. Because this is part of data analytics. I'll bring a case to you to get into the idea. So what we are basically doing, what we are basically looking at, that data analytics is a subject. We have defined the subjects. Data analytics is like a tool that can be used by auditor for his or her purposes. So whatever audit you are doing, you can use data analytics. So here is a tool available. Here is your audit objective. So what you're doing through this tool, you are going to match your audit objective or create evidences to support or in support of your audit conclusion through use of this data analytics. It could create data that is of interest to you. So let us take this example. The first word we are learning today is Vishal. Let me see. Abhishek, if you are there, please help Vishal. Abhishek, he said he will be till 4. Yeah. Okay, I'm asking Abhishek to help you out. Komal, Vishal
Yes,
is. Yeah. Okay. Now, so on this word domain. So let us do a question answer. Cash domain is debit. We all agree. So domain of cash is debit. In fact, Tally has a control whenever you pass a voucher and the cash balance goes negative. So Tally gives a warning that when you pass this cash voucher, Tally balance will become negative. So you must not pass the voucher, but then there's a command control A. There's a command control A. So it doesn't, we don't listen. Even if the system is giving a warning. So the system gives you warning. It is part of you to ensure that you listen to it. Control A, pass it. Now, what has happened? No, please understand, this is very important for all the practice we are all doing. Okay, please take this as it comes. So cash balance is negative. Now see what is happening. Just see how things are taking a different shape. Technology. You have faceless assessment. You know, at all the client location that you are working, there is a job vacancy. You know what is that job vacancy? I'm giving the job name to the job vacancy. Just say yes, whether I'm saying correct or not. All your clients require this person. There's a vacancy for this person at your client end. Please say yes or no. Yes. All our clients need a good accountant. We know what is accountant. We don't know what is good. Now see what has happened. This GST has been like a blessing in disguise to accountants. And our people who are using Tally, they have made phenomenal earning out of it. Now what is happening? That attrition rate, the rate at which an employee leaves, is very high on the accountant profile. So accountant working in a company, she leaves because she gets a small hike in the salary and goes to B company. Now just imagine what is happening and why this topic is so important for all of us to get into. This accountant at A company has gone to B. Now A has a new accountant. Assessment is going to happen 1 year, 2 years after filing the tax audit report. The new accountant is angry. You know why he is angry? He or she is angry because old accountant had got the audit done and now assessment has to be completed by the new accountant. So this person is always complaining, पुराना accountant क्या करके गया और मुझे तो कुछ पता ही नहीं है. I don't know anything. The complaint of new accountant is very high, but then it is his job to get the assessment done. Now see what is happening. Income tax notice 143(3), 143(2) of the Income Tax Act. The AO wants you to submit the cash book in digital form. PDF, you have to submit the cash book. It is a faceless assessment. You have to submit the cash book. Ideally, this accountant must have gone to this report of Tally, negative ledgers, to see whether the domain of the ledger is complied. Negative ledger means a ledger in sundry debtors group must have a debit balance. If the ledger at the end of the year has a credit balance, it is negative ledger, not in its domain. So cash credit is a negative ledger. The new accountant submits the PDF directly to the faceless AO. We are all practicing tax. What is going to be the implication of this? I request you to put it in the chat. You have submitted the new accountant has submitted the cash book to AO with a negative cash balance. What will happen? Someone has to say the implication collapse. No. AO, what is the action AO is going to take? Puthlingam or yes, Francis. Great. So Komal Abhishek, no, not reject. First add. So Komal Abhishek, we have this concept of e-chocolate. So please create e-memento. So first e-memento will go to Francis for saying it so correctly. That is section 69C, unexplained expenditure. See, your cash book is saying that cash balance is negative. That means I actually showing 100 rupees and showing an expenditure of 500 rupees. That means 400 I have earned, which I have not disclosed. Direct add to income. So that is, yeah, Kudlingam. She can reject, but this is a much better option. It helps revenue a lot. So that is the point. That is where your data analytics come into help. Simple. Just understand what capabilities your system has given to you. I love talking about this. The only thing is the way we look into it. So these capabilities are in your system. So only first point we have talked about. There's one more case that is from banking, but I'm avoiding this on this domain. So you get the idea about what exactly is the relevance of domain understanding. What is the relevance of negative ledgers per se? So as an auditor, when your client sends you this tally data, just go to this report. This is the first report you put your head to. Yeah, Anurag. Yes, Anurag, I understand that. But then you have submitted a document. Please understand, it's an official document. It has gone on email. So that is the trouble with technology. You can that what you say, the deniability of submission is not there. There is explain the submission. You cannot deny the submission. Now you have to explain the submission. So you have to be so sure whatever action you have taken. But the point is well taken, Anurag. Thank you. Okay. So back. So only first point. Now second. Negative stock, I'm not doing it. But then because many of you have been doing stock audit, you said yes. We all know what is overdue receivables. You can directly generate the report. Bank has sanctioned that this receivables. Let us see. Let us generate that. I'll have to change the time frame of the company. Okay, I'll just change the company. Just give me a second. Okay. So this you can create ledgers based on time frame and your stock audit. The option is there whether the sanction is for say debtors up to 90 days, 180 days. So based on that, you can directly generate the report from system. Second, then next, this takes my heart away because this is what Tally has done phenomenally. Okay, so what we'll first take a question answer session. Okay, so I'll just read. I'll bring what is inside it, and then we'll have question answer, and then if time will allow, we'll take one or two of these practically, the implication of it. First, we have already done 51 ledgers which have not been used. Means there is not a single transaction. You all understand. Let me open the chat. Yeah. Then 129 having only opening balances. please, I request you from a member's perspective in an audit profession, you can give comment on any of these, how you interpret this. So you can use the first, anyone means you can use not used, balances, no transaction, revenue ledgers having opening balances. What is this reflection of? Dormant, inoperative, that, thank you, Uttam. Saying Uttam, with your permission, that 1,10,000 ledgers I talked about, wrong opening balances, wrong account. Fantastic, Anurag. Means, you know, the last one, it is a disaster like that. You're not closing the books. See, the entity has not closed its book. The annual closing entries are yet to be passed. Yes, Govind, the last. We have only talked about first header. Let us go to the others. Yes, Uttam, I was waiting for this. These are areas of fraud. In fact, just asking you, how many of you are doing concurrent audit of bank, CCA? Yeah, because Uttam brought this up, our idea about fraud. So I just want to share something on that. See, yes, concurrent audit for bank. That means, Kutlingam, that basically means, see, it is coming as a report. So it means that the closing year-end closing entries have not been made. You have made a valid point. We agree to that. Yes, yes, yes. So you do the year-end closing, then you do the data split, so the balances are segregated. So those bookkeeping, the good practices about, someone did say that wrong accounting practices. So the good practices have not been put in place. Okay, I wanted one of you who is doing concurrent audit of a bank to say yes. Vishal said no. You'll get Vishal, don't worry. This is a point I wanted to bring on this, only balances, no transactions. Someone said fraud prone. So I wanted to share that. Okay, good. So another partner takes care. Okay, Deepika, great. So, great, Govind. Okay. So your batches are complete, Govind, or you're waiting for the batches to start? The online batches of concurrent audit. So the point is that, see, in bank, in all banks, most of our Indian banks use public sector bank. Great, Deepika. Good, good. So your bank will be using this. If it is PSB, most of our public sector banks use Finacle. So in Finacle, there are something called as CTRs, STRs, cash transaction report, and suspicious transaction reports. So if a dormant account has a transaction in a year, it goes to STR. You have to see whether the transaction is valid or not. So that is the point. Only someone said fraud prone. Absolutely correct. Here, in fact, now the case I wanted to share with you on this forensic audit on Tally. So I think it's the right time to share. So what happened in one of our client, we have been doing their internal audit. Okay. So to the client, we were doing internal audit. So what happened that there were these ledgers with balances and no transactions, and they were in the books. And it was means like a customer oriented company. So customer advances were also there, and their turnover was 100 crores. So reasonably big size. So what happened that the fraud was going on. An employee who was part of the fraud, he was caught by some mistake. Now, because this one employee was caught and he was asked to leave. So this employee, before he left, he spilled the beans out. That, sir, I am not the one. There are more involved. Now, as soon as the beans were spilled, the owner of the company requested us that there is some issue of accounting, and he wants us to identify the nature of fraud, the modus operandi, and the value of fraud, like that. So, and they were using Tally. So we went through this all Tally and all those. So I'm showing you where we got the hint that the fraud lies here. See, as a forensic auditor, and please understand this hint we got from, we realized that it's a basic accounting fraud, but we had to find where. So I'm showing you that location where we found where the fraud is. Let us see. You know where I've got you? Yes. Okay. Let me just, to make it better, let me change the year of this. Yeah. Statistics. Now, I'm telling you the fraud location. You see the sales. So suppose company had 120 sales voucher. Against this 120 sales voucher in the year, the total number of JVs passed. Imagine JVs, general voucher. So against 120 sale voucher, the number of JVs passed were 2,400. 20 times more. Once we got this data, we were damn sure that JV voucher was the source of the accounting fraud. And a detailed analysis was done. And the ledgers that were used, so they were this ledgers with balances. Here we were. Only transact balances, no transactions. So there were such ledgers lying, and hundreds of these ledgers, most of them having this credit balances for customers. So what was done through JVs, all these balances were accumulated, routed through multiple ledgers and accumulated in a single transaction, single ledger. And against that credit collected in single ledger, goods were dispatched. Finally, 20 lakh rupee fraud was captured only on this header, only balances, no transaction. So someone said it so correctly, it's a fraud prone area. Phenomenal. So just to have an idea about how things can be processed like this. Okay. Again, fraud prone stock items, not, of course, leave fraud. If you find not used stock items, that means non-moving inventory, waste of the money of the company. Okay, Anurag. Oh, you want to see it? Okay, I'll do that. Sorry, I did it fast. Must not do it like this. So Anurag, on Gateway of Tally, I remember the short key is also D for display, S for statement of account, and S for statistics. Anurag, you got it? DSS on Gateway of Tally. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I thank Anurag. Please keep these questions coming. Okay. Yeah. No. That was an example, Anurag, that this Tally is not that fraud, the entity where the fraud occurred. It's here. The general vouchers will be. Yeah, here it's only 126 JV. So this is normal. Okay, that is not that fraud Tally. Okay. Yeah, well, that would have been a client data. Yeah, thank you. So we were here. No, Uttam, no, not necessary. Yeah. Okay. See what I think we all understand what is stock journals. So stock journals may affect true and fair, but then see, if I don't do it correctly, it is going to affect. If it is basically the way I do it. If my intention is to do correct transfers, I'll do correct transfers. If my intention is to do errors or fraud, disclose incorrectly, then yes. The point that I think Uttam wants to make is that if there are stock journals, this require better checking by auditor. The answer is yes, because there you can do fraud generally, which can go undetected. So I accept Uttam's point that if stock journals are there, auditor will require more skills to validate it. Perfect. Stock items. In fact, Uttam has brought this item. We are in Tally. Yes, I was coming to that exactly the same point, Uttam, you are making. In Tally, how many valuation methods are there when you create inventory? The same point I told you that we'll take issues and link it to auditing. And yes, 9 and 6 plus 3. Why Uttam is saying 6 plus 3? Because 3 are only as per our accounting standard to valuation of inventories and 6 are not. But say it's a software. So software will have capabilities of providing additional data information. It is for the user to ensure it is complied with the applicable standards. Nothing SA, I think 520 analytical procedures. If the standard number is correct, please tell me. You can do it. And this is, means I'm not doing it, you know, much better than what I'm going to do. But please understand, you can do it for all these and generate it, compile it. And you know, when you do it, where, okay, so you do, let me ask this question, because we are in a phase of audit. Other than the auditing standard about, say, analytical procedure, which other auditing standard you will be complying with through this reports, the one you are looking at, analytical procedures? If you can just, because see, things have changed a lot. So I'm writing this with your permission. Planning, documentation, audit evidences. So all these standards are complied through this, and Tally allows you, in fact, there's a, you can do it in a much more documented manner, Tally audit. Yeah, Mukesh, I'll share at the end of the session, Mukesh. So thanks for asking this. I'll show you. Yeah. So what is the point? The point is that through this, you create a better documentation. In fact, Tally Prime allows you as an auditor to comment on those. We'll see verification of balance. I'll bring that again because I've shared about that standard. So you can create phenomenally good documentation. Let me bring it. Yes, you can create. I think you all know it, but because we want to read it for a specific purpose, so I'm sharing this with you. You can say verified. So you can say if this balance has been verified, so whether confirmation has been obtained, so it becomes a checklist for you. The job is done. You need not go. I don't know, Tally people are listening. I told them that your Tally has to be sold like not as an accountant Tally, it has to be sold like an auditor's Tally, the way it has been configured. Phenomenal. You can do it for each ledger. So we were on this. Yeah, then you can verify balances, but I don't want to put myself here. We were on analytical procedures. So you can do it very, very well. Then pending documents. Yes. So pending documents means, say, whether you have got the confirm. Just give me a second. I need to just make some update to the, I need to plug in the power cord. Just give me a second.
Atul sir?
I am there. Okay, I'm there. Audio is there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. We need to have backups. Thank you. So this again, pending bills, you can document that. Okay. This is phenomenal. In fact, one of the latest scrutiny that you all do is see this expenditure, electricity bill. We are doing for one of our clients. So whether all 12 electricity bills have been entered on. So this you can do. I don't want to put my time here. Yes. This is that. Just have a feel of it. Repeated transactions. So 4,000 data analytics. So this doesn't say that whether it is fraud or not. This basically say what data analytics will tell you that if you find transaction data set that is of interest, then you need to review, assess that data set to be able to draw proper conclusions. So if these 32 payments are there, then you must be able to check whether that those payments are correct or not. That is what it is going to tell you. Great, Samir. So Samir has given a point to all of us to learn that repeated, we use this for checking whether credit is taken twice for the same invoice. Samir, you are looking from GST perspective. Sure. I wanted to look from the, yeah. So Samir is talking of 18% of the transaction. I want to talk about 100% of the transaction. So we need to extrapolate our thinking process. If what Samir is saying is correct, that means the risk of making double payment is also there. So you could, as an internal management auditor, we can look from this aspect also that whether that risk is compensated or not. Repeated transaction. We'll come to this later on, RSF, relative size factor, later on. The interbank transaction, cash withdrawals, okay, this will not be there. Yeah, this is very, very important. In fact, those who have read forensic or those who have done FFD course or forensic accounting auditing, so there is a very specific analysis that is done on the, like your sales are increasing, your depreciation is constant or your depreciation is increasing. So the way sales depreciation increase, it has to be reflected in the nature of assets you are creating. So a lot of data analysis is done on the nature of assets, the quantity of assets, the way they are created. This takes my heart away. Transactions done on holidays. So means each, just let me read few. I got very specific transactions. Yes, this office rent. Then SBI loan. Please read what it is saying. This is, can you guess it out that suppose you are auditor and this SBI loan receipt, 15,000 loan has been credited, means you have got a disbursement of 15,000. Take a small amount, let us accept. Okay. Is it possible Sunday? Yes. So not possible on Sunday. But see, that is exactly what I wanted you to say. You know, this financial fintech companies, I get this message on my mobile that my 50,000 personal loan check is ready. Yes, Dimple. So what you're basically looking at, fraud is one aspect. Entry is made on incorrect date. And in fact, the point that I say it is a quick transaction. You know, fintech companies, which you must be dealing with those companies which provide you a loan based on your social media interaction. So how popular you are on Instagram, how popular you are on Facebook. So based on that, they give you loan. Please understand. Yes. So that loan can be given on Sunday. So we are not, what the point is that if what data analytics will tell you, yes, this transaction needs further checking, whether fraud, whether incorrect data entry, whether a genuine transaction will only come after that checking. That point has to be taken. Yes. So this was one. There's one more I want your feedback on. CST you can pay. Let me go down. ESI, please. These transactions take my heart. This ESI professional tax on Sunday. What it means? It's a phenomenal thing. Let us guess it correctly. Online payment possible. Yes, Uttam. So very good. You know, see, we are all in accounting profession. So this, what I say now is saying with deep respect. Let me ask a question. It may appear as a silly question, but it is so important to understand. Let us do that question. It is a very silly question, please understand that. But for the sake of learning, I'm sharing this. I give check for PF on 14th August. What is the date I'll enter the transaction in my books? So suppose I give check on 14th of August, the check is going to clear on 16th. So my date of entry in my books will be what? Everyone agrees to Francis? Yes. 14, no confusion. But, you know, so we are saying correctly. Okay, now let us do the practical part, confession box. Let us say the truth. So please tell me that do all accountants account on 14th, or you still have a set of accountant who will account on 16th? Francis, accountant is, you know why? What is that one reason? What? Yes. Is it a good practice? Absolutely not good. What is being missed out? Anurag, Samir, what is missed? Yes. Okay, good. So what is the incorrectness in that? You know what accountant does not want to do? He wants to save something that is so good available. F5, bank reconciliation. Yes. You talk to accountant से आप हिंदी में बोलता हूँ फिर अंग्रेजी करूंगा. accountant से बात करो तो बोलता है, सर हमारे यहाँ तो BRS बनता ही नहीं है. सर हमारे यहाँ तो कोई पेंडिंग ट्रांजैक्शन ही नहीं होता. There has to be a simple. That is the point. And in fact, just take my word for it, the way banking has evolved. You know, this check clearing, image clearing of check has been introduced. I just read it is, I think it's a 15-day. You must have got that message. Yes. No, point. Francis, question is not of daily entry. Question is date of entry. 14th August entry you do on 18th, but the date of entry has to be 14th August. That is the point. First. Second, you must have got this WhatsApp message within the last 15 days. Some fundamental change in check clearing has come in India. What is that change? Anyone who wants to comment on that? 15 days the message was there that RBI has allowed something to happen. What is that change? Oh, that makes this discussion more relevant. You must have read that. Anyone who wants to help on that? You got those WhatsApp messages. Yes, CTS checks even on holidays. Sunday is possible. So that means yes. Now, see, it has multiple aspects. It creates problem for the finance manager of the company. In fact, I've been telling those people whom I can interact that please tell your finance manager that the day the check is issued and goes to the vendor's hand, please consider the amount debited from your bank balance. Don't wait for BRS. In fact, now check transactions are much less. Now you have RTGS, NEFT. We all have electronic transactions only, but still check is used. It is not outdated. It is, we do NEFT, but we give a check for 5, 10 transaction NEFT, whatever it is, but still it is there. So that is the point. Yes, Uttam. Preferably, you must do it from Tally. This is phenomenal. Okay, let us have the stale checks, then come. No stale checks. Pending advances. Direct audit query. No questions asked. So I kept this to discuss those two things together. Relative side RSF and this. Okay, let me bring RSF so you will get a better understanding. Let me bring it. Sorry, let me bring, then we'll discuss. This is phenomenal. This is one that I wanted more practical input from all of us. Let me bring that. Oh, I need to change the period. Just give me a second. Anyone who has anything to comment on RSF, if you know it? Relative size factor. Someone who, now let me tell what is RSF. Relative size factor is a ratio of, yes, good. Thank you, Tam. Between highest value voucher and second highest value voucher in the same ledger. Now you read. This takes my courier charges 28 times difference between the, see, courier means if you're regular courier sender, even if you get courier bill monthly, so 28 is not going with the difference between the highest, means your if the minimum value voucher is 100, the highest is 2,800. You have to go for detailed analysis of this. Means you have to check and validate. That is the point. So it brings both the transactions. See, it shows my ratio. I don't know how much Tally, what input they have done. So Uttam has said that you can do a more, you can filter it out. So I filtered it out. So this helps. Now see why all the session gains importance, due to what, there's something that is happening publicly. It is not getting good name to the profession. This all investigations by ED, Enforcement Directorate, Reserve Bank, Central Bureau of Investigation, then raids by Department of Direct and Indirect Taxes. We already had this very public issue of a CA being raided. So what is happening? The trouble is that wherever we are providing services to entities having public face, like banks, listed companies, cooperative banks, and some fraud occurs there, and the nature of fraud being a financial fraud, we must have read headers in the newspaper that one of the first person the authorities seek answers from is the first person has to be the owner, the managing director, the directors of the company, but the first person to whom the answers are being sought are auditors. And the way authorities are approaching, the whole approach to audit has been fundamentally revised. In fact, the changes in CARO on this whole aspect about fraud, your tax audit report, CARO, the other like report for special reports for banks, NBFCs. So the core has been brought that whether auditors processes were so oriented to identify possibilities of fraud. And this is going to help you document that, how you are going to do this in a better manner. So this is very, very, very important. This will tell you that, yes, these are the areas that you did. See, suppose I ask this question, fraud detection, is it auditor's responsibility? Please say yes and no, so that we are clear on the nature of discussion. No, fraud detection is not auditor's responsibility. But what has happened, the way authorities are behaving, the way things are changing, lot of pressure is being cast on financial auditors to come about these things based on, yeah, Anurag, but imagine, say, tax audit, imagine bank branch audit, like that. Let us take simple example, very practical examples. You're doing tax audit or you're doing bank branch audit. So is auditor expected to detect, identify frauds? Impossible, means that is expectation is not there. Beyond that, we have all read limitations. Yeah, means Samir, the answer is yes, I think. Means your sentence does not has the punctuation mark, so I understand it's a question mark. So the answer is yes. We have probably Komal, Abhishek, they will say agree to the point in the chat box. The answer is yes. Okay. So this possibility has become phenomenal. Then, okay, so we thanks Uttam for this filtering it out. The point is that this, you keep documentation of this, that these are the things you have analyzed, get explanation, document the explanation. This is going to help you someday. Please take my word for it. Then, okay, again, I will have to bring the P-rate. Just a moment. Yes, Uttam. But because, see, many of us are learning, so I thought let it be the way it is. Just give me a second. I need to bring that data here. I'm just stop sharing screen. I'll need to allow me to bring the data. Now, see, this is again something phenomenal Tally has brought on your analytics part, this verification of vouchers. So we are basically looking at sampling SA 530. Now, so here you can do your audit sampling. You can select and there's a word that is coming. I want to share that with you. You see this word Benford. Anyone who knows about this Benford analysis? Let me share that. So Benford was some individual. Yes, Samir. So I'll just do it for all of us. I'm doing it. I'll request you to do it. Okay. Like, okay, Samir, please put your membership number. Samir, if you don't mind, please put your membership number. Mine is this, but I'm avoiding mine because there are multiple. Okay. Yeah. So Samir has put 1444649. Now, which is the highest number in Samir's membership number? Highest number. 9. Okay, Samir, let others also say. So we all agree it is 9. Now, the next question. Which number has highest significant value in Samir's membership number?
So Samir sir's membership number, no one will be able to see, I think.
Oh, sorry.
It's written to panelist only.
Okay, sorry. Thank you, Komal. Let me put it. So I am putting Samir's membership number. It is 1444649. Now you read Samir's membership number. So now in this number, so okay, that is why there was a, yeah. No, single digit. Some Vikas, which figure has the highest value? That is 9. Now my question is, which single digit has highest weightage? 1, Govind, great. 1, because it is at lakhs position. Okay. Now, so I want say I registered as DISA. In fact, many of you are from Pune. So I attended my DISA batch physically in Pune, Ferguson Road, ILS Law College. So my DISA registration number is 786. Now, if I say highest number, it is 8, but the value with significance is 7. So highest is 7 because it is at 100th location. Now, beyond that, what is the point? The point is that Benford was an individual. He gave some law on numerology, on the way numbers come. His law was that you take any number, an arbitrary number, the chances that the highest digit of the arbitrary number is 1 is 30%. It is 2 is something around 17.5, sorry, 17.5%. And as you come to 9, the percentage reduces to very arbitrary law on numbers they are. The highest significant value and the digit it is going to be represented by. So the law is virtually more than 70 years old. In fraud investigation, whenever a fraud investigation commences, one of the first law the fraud investigator takes help is the set of laws. Benford is also one of them, to see whether the highest significant number is varying from the Benford law or not. Tally has brought that analysis as a part of your voucher selection. So you can select these vouchers based on the sample generated. And then they can be put to audit. Then verification that I don't want. So the point that I wanted to make was the use of Benford analysis for sampling. Then you can identify based on the nature of transactions, related part, but that is different. So whether this are related party or not. So this can be defined, and then it can be part of your this notes to account, significant accounting policy, accounting standard 18 disclosures. So virtually all part of all means virtually to me more than 80% of all your audit per se can be done through existing Tally Prime. They have added immense features to this. You document, and based on this, this is soft copy based. You can document them very well, keep a file for them, use them, make them part of your audit report, and then based on that, you create your audit reports. So that was on Tally. Let us go back to our PPT, what is left out there. So most was this only, this as an audit tool. So we have talked about audit analysis, sampling methods. So we have virtually talked about. There's details in the next slide, but the same is the format of it. So we have done as per the PPT. Okay. Now this is what I wanted to share. Any questions you have? Now it is open house. So we have two questions. One was, I said I will be answering at the end of the session.
Or sir, we can ask the audience to raise their hands so that we can allow them to
Okay,
speak.
yeah, please. So thank you, Komal. Anyone who wants to speak, ask question, then we can unmute and allow you to speak also. Anurag. Yeah, Achal, you want to speak? I will unmute you. Okay, so let us take one by one. First, how to use repeated transaction report for audit purpose. Good, Anurag. So repeated transaction means same nature of payments. So that means, this, we call this as red flags. You call this as FRA, fraud risk factors. So if you have repeated transactions, same nature to same individual, same date, same amount, that indicates that there is something that is not correct in the transaction. We are not saying it is a fraud transaction, but if repeated transactions are there, as an auditor, it is expected from the auditor to check whether the transactions are genuine or not. If you find that the transactions are not genuine, then this becomes part of your report. So repeated transactions per se don't directly go to the report, but Tally allows you to track them. Tally gives you a hint that these transactions you need to validate from their source document, and then based on that checking, you have to report.
Good evening, sir. Atul sir, it was an excellent presentation. Just to put more value to the repeated transaction, what happens is many times the small enterprises, they give the accountant a work to do something. Say that just between us, we can just say that to just adjust their expenditure, they will say put 52,000 as your staff
salary. Yes.
Oh
So
my
what
goodness.
you do is 52 divided by 50. 52,000 divided by 52. So it becomes 1,000. And then they use the shortcut key all two. So all 2,000 rupees repeated every month.
Yes.
Straight away, it is an area which has to be looked into. So even and the one more thing to add is, if the data is available and if we are able to do this much, and a perfect analytical person comes, they will be able to do much more than that.
Yes.
That is the reason why the department is asking for Tally data.
Yeah, Uttam, with your permission, I want to share very real good instance. So you have given me a good idea. Let us just complete this. Is it about, no, it can be anything, Anurag. Repeated can be income side also, fake income. So that is there also. Achal, I'll just show you where you get this audit tools, but there is one query that is blocking of the accounts. I think we need help from Tally. Komal. Do we have this restriction to ledgers? Can we block ledgers like this? I don't think we have right now.
Sir, I'll have to get back with you.
Yeah, yes, get back on this. I think that query is a good query.
It requires a
What's the point?
TDL, sir. It is not possible.
Miss, in the standard Tally, it is not there. Of course, you get a TDL. So we are not discussing TDL because TDL can be thousands different types. So yeah, it's a good query. What I understand is it is not possible as of now. I'm just reprocessing the same in my mind. Can we have a way of doing it? There's one way I'm trying to work around. Uttam, please update whether that way is going to work. See what you can do. If you want those transactions to be blocked, then or say ledgers to be blocked, you take them in a separate group. And in user rights, you disable access to that group. So I think that is, but then if voucher can be created, yeah, it is not 100% correct. Yes, I realize that. So that is not there. So that query is pending. Then where to find audit tools? I'll just share the screen again. I'll bring that Achal. So you can, I'll bring the Tally Prime screen again. You can see it there. Achal, is the screen visible? So this we've answered. Yeah, thank you. So from Gateway of Tally, display D, and here analysis and verification. But see, Achal, you have allowed me to say something more. Okay, Kuthalingam. No, there are many such things, Kuthalingam. Okay, but thank you. Achal, we have talked about this. There's one more that is there, that is here. Tally audit, it's a different, it's basically online taking of the transaction. So that is one part, but we have talked about this, the one we have talked today. So I'm sharing that again. Gateway of Tally, display more reports, and here is analysis verification. So the command on Gateway of Tally is D and shortkey is V. And you get data analysis.
And if you want to go to specific, you can go to and then type it.
Yeah. But that was a prime feature, so I avoided that.
No, but if I want to do only one thing, then I need not go to the entire process. I can just go to and finish it off.
But see, what I learned, Uttam, that just sharing something that you have said, doing in structured manner ensures that I remember it.
So you don't miss out on all the line items.
Yes. Then how to group, and you can do it, Anurag. You can create a separate group and transfer, change the group. Anurag, that is easy. You can create a group here. Anurag, here you create a group, it gives an option. So whether you want to create a group, so you create a group, say unused ledgers. Based on the nature of ledger, you can keep it in, say, sundry debtors. Save it. So now you have this group. Then you can transfer the so it will be displayed here in sundry. Yeah, yes, you see in sundry debtors, it is appearing as unused ledgers. So you can create that. Alka, related parties. Okay, so let us understand exactly what the issue is. See, related party as a disclosure is mandated under Companies Act, under Income Tax Audit, and as per our accounting standard 18. So identification of related party, you have a standard on auditing on related party, and is the number of the standard on auditing. Basic identification has to be done by the auditee, the client itself. Auditor has to see whether related party identification is correct, and once identification has been done, the transactions have been correctly taken there. So that is how you look to related parties.
So one more thumb rule which is required in case of a related party, you have to tell them that no related party transaction should be directly paid or received.
Yes, means those are good. Uttam has made a good point. That is basically from the control aspect, because the chances of fraud.
Otherwise, this usage will not help us.
Yes, absolutely correct. So thanks to all of you for great participation. I enjoyed talking to all of you. And this is the way I generally prefer taking sessions, which are very interactive per se. Nikhil is a query that is troubling all chartered accountants, 194Q. So I will allow Komal to update on that. 194Q validation has...
बात कर लेना, हाँ मेल कर दे और बात कर ले, पूछ ले, वो मेल करना है व्हाट्सएप करना, पूछ ले, पहले बात कर ले.
Nothing, it happens. So okay, so I think that is the session. Any questions, Nikhil? I think it is part of the process. The company is going to come about it, because I also understand that that validation has to be built. Okay.
Yes, sir. I think there are no further queries, so we
Okay.
definitely can conclude our session. Thank you, Uttam sir. I think it's the most interactive session I've actually witnessed. The replies just kept on coming, so that was a great one. So for the people who are asking for the video recording, we will do upload in a day or two in CA community portal or our YouTube channel. And so similar lines, so this was analytics in the financial audit. We have the similar session coming on this Wednesday. That is analytics in the forensic audit by again CA Atul Gupta. So it's going to be a great one again. So I am just sending out the registration link again in the chat box. Do feel free to share across your network you think it will be helpful for them. So thank you one and all. Thank you, Uttam sir, for being here today. Thank you so much.
Thanks to all of you. Great participation. Thanks a lot.